So when Barack Obama wins the Nobel Peace Prize, oh, he doesn't deserve it. But Taylor Swift deserves the Moon Man, that's the award from MTV, for the best video, when we know, put a ring on it. All the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies. I love Taylor, but you know what time it is. Right? Barack Obama, President of the United States, can call Kanye West a jackass. World famous black entertainer. And yet when he tried to suggest that there was lacking protocol, perspective, and some intelligence in the Cambridge Police Department by saying he was acting stupidly, he was reviled white. So you can call the world famous black guy a jackass, but you suggest, don't even call us to suggest that the police department, the white man, wasn't acting within his own reasonable limits, and then you were widely reviled. It took the most famous and powerful man in the world, Barack Obama, with another famous black scholar, Skip Gates, to go up against the word of an anonymous white policeman, and they lost. It wasn't simply about questioning law enforcement, it was also about questioning white intelligence from a black authority. It's a complicated things to deal with. Got to talk about them, got to deal with them. I mentioned earlier the resistance to difference even within communities of color. Gender is a serious issue. We were at the gathering we had before coming over here, and we were trying to talk about the All-Star game, and other women in the room were talking about serious and social issues, and then when they asked us, Kobe Bryant concerned about issues of women outside basketball, we ain't had no answer really. What we gonna say? Nothing. We don't know. Because we don't want to confront difference within our own culture. How women have been subordinate to men. Once we get the race issue straight, we'll take care of the women issue. Really? Well, that race issue ain't gonna get straightened out for a minute. Do you really want to wait that long to address the issue of gender? Right? We're living in a world where women are half the world, more than half the world. Not only when we claim we want to go to defend the honor of women by prosecuting a war against Iraq, because we want to deal with the Taliban, what about what's going on in America with women? Second-class citizenship. In our churches, women can cook, clean, and sew. They can do everything, but pastor of the church, they numerically dominate. Even in black communities, where women are 75 to 80% of the church. They give most of the money, provide economic security for the source of patriarchy in their own institutional networks. Just something to think about. Then we get mad at Snoop Dogg. Well, we know where Snoop Dogg's coming from. Follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me, but don't lose your grip, because 9 trips ain't the gizzy. And I ain't holding nothing back. Falling back on that ass. What the hell if I gangsta man? Get a fucking on the mic. Why can't I hold back check all the greens? It's the capital West, yes, I'm fresh and double P, D-O-double-G-Y-D-O-double-G, you see. Showing much flex when it's time to record mic, pippin' holes and clacking grip like my name is Dolomite. Yeah. Then bishop and minister and evangelist trying to use God to co-sign their bigotry against women. Whether you call on Allah or God, Allah is only a word for God, you call on Allah or God or whatever divine authority to justify and sanctify second-class citizenship for women. Why ain't the Catholic Church got a female pope? They can pope too. Get poked out. Women be running stuff anyway. Might as well make it official. Can't even be a priest in the Catholic Church. And in Muslim authority, why is it that women are subject and subordinated? Why don't men wear long garments to hide their sexual inclination? I know women have sometimes justified their own, dress in a particular garb and tried to sanctify and rationalize their second-class citizenship. But at the end of the day, if you can't do what a man do, you are a second-class citizen. You dress it up and make sure God and Moses and Jesus and everybody else has something to do with it. At the end of the day, it serves a state which justifies your subordination as a woman. You can come up with all kinds of excuses for that. that, trying to justify it in your own mind as your self-respectful way to deploy your own feminine identity. I get that. Because you know, they do have a legitimate critique when we look at what we're doing over here with our sexual freedom. We're imprisoned by our freedom. Escalating rates of AIDS, sexual congress has led to bipartisan disagreement in our loins.
Say that again.
And in our sexual congress, I was trying to play off of that sexual congress. Sorry for the metaphor, but you get what I'm saying. A lot of disagreement going on about what we do with sex in America. We are obsessed with it, and yet we repress it at the same time. It's really hard. So we don't deal with it. Sexual differences. That's why it's tough for us to deal with gay and lesbian and transgender and bisexual people. We're scared. We might get some of that. If they're all in open, don't ask, don't tell. Don't ask, don't get tell. I must be in the Bible though. But what's interesting? And so we don't want nobody to know. Everybody be knowing who's gay. Anyway, you be in church. Woke up this morning with my mind. And then the person singing, you know they gay. The preacher preaching a sermon against gay people. No one in the choir member is gay. And then the choir member mad when the homophobic sermon has been preached and sachets up to the church to sing afterward. I'm going to sing anyhow. Jesus, I love you. You're trying to deny the legitimacy of their bodies in a church that they celebrate and support. And I ain't never seen no church turn down gay money. Never been to one yet. We don't accept gay or lesbian, transgender, or bisexual money. The only funny money they don't want is change. So we're talking about difference. How do we deal with it? How do we talk about, you know, my friend said, you don't want to, no gay marriage. If you're against that, don't marry a gay person. Right? And why are we so obsessed with that? Trying to use the Bible, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, every religious text we can to justify, to make God co-sign our bigotry. Why are we so afraid of difference, sexually, economically, socially, religiously, racially? Because we have gotten used to the cubbyholes of bigotry, deeply wedded to our conception of what it means to be human, and it often excludes as much as it includes. So for me, we got to think and rethink, engage and re-engage the forces of difference so that we can have difference without hierarchy. Right? By which I mean is that folk can do what they got to do and be who they have to be without us trying to rank them as you better than this. It's part of the problem. Now, that doesn't work out when you're looking at the NBA and trying to see who's Cleveland Cavaliers president of Los Angeles Lakers. We believe in hierarchy and difference there. There's open competition, but that's a different kind of game. But in the game of life, as Wittgenstein might say, where one cannot speak, there one must be silent. In the game of life, that's different because now we're talking about playing for keeps, and we're talking about how all of these differences accumulate and organize themselves in our own communities, and how we have to open our minds. We might be against one form of difference and then reinforcing another form of difference, against one form of bigotry and reinforcing another, against one form of oppression and reinforcing another. So how do we move beyond the precincts of bigotry and the bitter barriers that have divided us to embrace one another across a numerous and interesting range of differences, axes that have divided us and that keep us from loving and learning about each other? Well, that's enough for me to start off with. There might be some disagreement, some difference of perspective, and some analysis that we might want to apply that would challenge some of these ideas I have and allow us to have a more civil and open conversation. So I'm going to take a seat right here. Reverend Marcia can grab a seat. Somebody can get her a seat right here. Then we can sit down and pass the mic between each other as we engage in